Hello, everyone, and welcome to this week's episode of Talking with Our Traders, a Caesar Sportsbook original series. This is where we sit down with our very own Caesar Sportsbook traders and dive deep into everything NFL and college football. Whether you're looking for insider insights or just want to hear what the pros have to say, you've come to the right place. Let's get into it. I'm your host, Cindy Edwards, and with me today, as always, is Craig Mucklow, Vice President of Trading here at Caesar Sportsbook.
Hello there.
And Joey Fiesel, Head of Football here at Caesars.
Hello.
Okay, guys, let's dive into some college football. Joey, is Jalen Milroe a lock to win the Heisman after that performance against Georgia?
Is he the favorite? Absolutely. A lock? Not so fast,
Not
my
so
friend.
much.
The next time I call a lock for Heisman in the 6th week of the season, please drug test me. Jalen Milroe has to take on the Commodores this weekend, not to be confused with Craig's favorite band from the 70s, but Diego Pavia and the Vanderbilt Commodores this weekend. Milroe really should take it week by week. They get some tougher opponents down the line, but yeah, it's going to be an uphill battle, especially with the quarterback play this year.
Right.
Tremendous band of the 70s. I will give you that. But not my favourite.
I don't know if I've ever heard of him.
You're not old enough. Plus, Lionel Richie.
Oh, yeah.
Plus 165 doesn't suggest lock material to me.
Right.
His performance was pretty impressive under the primetime lights, but the one that impressed me the most was Cam Ward. Didn't have a great game.
No, but he got
But that final drive was ludicrous.
Yeah.
When he was getting
the running back
sacked.
caught the ball on his butt on fourth down. Getting sacked, he pitched it to the tight end.
Yeah.
I mean, great players find ways to win, and likewise, Jalen Milroe found a way to win at the end of that game as well. But what a game!
And how
Absolutely
about
unreal games.
Yeah.
17-year-old kid, too, just balling out. I mean, that's just so impressive.
Yeah.
He's
You
gonna
know
go
who
far.
he is?
Brian?
Serena Williams' nephew.
Really? I did
Yeah,
not
there's
know
a
that.
connection there.
Wow.
Yeah, insane. So what do we expect there?
Well, I mean, if you're from the
Runs in
same
the
gene
family.
pool as the Williams sisters,
Now it's making sense.
Yeah, now it makes sense. No, I actually turned that game off and then got a text in the group chat that was like, "Are you seeing this game?" I'm like, "It's over," or like, "What?" And I turned it on. I was like, "Wow."
interesting. A customer had $80,000 to win $1,600 on Alabama at a real short price, 1-50, I think it was.
Wow.
Got to feel for that customer at that time. I mean, his heart must have been in his
Yeah.
hands.
I did,
No.
especially just Georgia driving down, and then it was very short-lived, the Georgia, right? When
Yeah.
I thought they
next play.
scored too fast.
Yeah. probably.
Immediately, same. Yeah. Turned it on. It was score. I was like, what is happening? But no. Amazing game. So other than that Alabama-Georgia game, what was the most impressive win over the weekend?
Kentucky beating Ole Miss was very impressive
Right.
to me, especially containing that offense as much as Lane Kiffin, Jackson Dart. They like to, put up points on the board. We saw Kentucky versus Georgia. Like, well, maybe they just play Georgia. No, this team looks like they might be the real deal. Do they make weird decisions about like going for it on fourth down and not going it when you're on the opposing 40 instead of punting it? Yeah, so that's going to hold them back. And also maybe Lane Kiffin just has his eyes on that Florida Gators head coach job too. So.
I wouldn't say blowing a 28-point lead against your greatest rival is an impressive game.
Right.
But for me, it's UNLV.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Your quarterback, your leader, literally dumped your team
Some drama there.
over $100,000, which potentially could hurt him come draft day because there'll be character issues, which NFL teams always look for. You don't do that to your team. And if you can afford an agent, $100,000 really is nothing. It has to be. So what do you
I don't
do?
know if it's nothing.
So what do you do when you get dumped? You bring out the revenge body and you hang 59 points on your opponent.
Yeah.
So UNLV was the one for me.
No, UNLV, they look unstoppable, and as much
Yeah.
as that pains me to say it as an Nevada
Yes.
fan, but they did not skip a beat. We saw the respect in the marketplace this week, too, with Syracuse. They were,
Right.
Everybody's like, oh, Syracuse, there's no way UNLV. They're a 6.5 favorite at the moment. And
Right.
it just shows the respect that team's got.
But it does highlight the fact that you need to avoid single points of failure. We talk about it in our office all the time with our teams. UNLV had the next man step up, and then look at my Dolphins, don't have a quarterback.
Yeah.
You know what I was thinking the other day? We'll get into the Dolphins,
Okay.
actually. I'll save it for later. Okay, is Alabama the clear-cut favorite to win it all?
Yeah, they're currently favored to win it all, but again, they have some opponents that are going to get in their way to that SEC championship game. As we look to the national championship this year with the 12-team playoff, what's going to be the key? You win that championship game, you get that bye week. In the NFL, it's just you want that bye week just to set you up for that. So they still got to go to Tennessee, They got to go to LSU. They got to go to Oklahoma. Nevertheless, Crimson Tide deserve the credit for the win. I mean, yeah, you almost blew it, but they had enough to get it done. And, that Georgia team is still the real deal. I mean, even if I had, after that weekend's game, we run that back, I still have on a neutral field Georgia -1.5. So it was impressive. They're at the top right now, especially with the coaching change, losing Saban, but they got a long way to go.
Right.
And it wasn't a surprise with Alabama winning because they have that home field advantage,
Right.
and their record against Georgia and Tallahassee is tremendous. We mentioned it last week.
Yeah.
6 teams at 10-1 or less doesn't suggest that Alabama are a clear-cut favourite. And obviously, what Joey said numerous times, because it's a 12-team playoff now, there's less volatility in the futures market because more teams get in. So you're not seeing you've got to find 4 teams in the
Right.
final 4.
Right.
Makes sense. Okay. Who do you think is the number 1 pick in the draft right now? I know we've got a lot to go.
We got a long way to go. Travis Hunter is number 1.
Yeah.
He should be number 1 in everybody's sports. Week in, week out, he's the best player on both sides of the ball. If this man can stay healthy, he's going to be very fun to watch in the NFL.
Keyword, healthy.
Yeah.
I'm boring and I'm old school. Unless there's absolute world-class talent, I would trade out the number 1 pick every single time. It's too much of a lottery. With the Bears traded out the number 1 pick, got a load of draft picks, got the number 1 pick again this year. I suggested that they should trade it out again because there wasn't that much of a difference. But right now, Joe is, as always, correct. It's Travis Hunter because you get 2 players for 1.
Right.
But health is the concern.
Yeah.
Which team heading into the weekend is on upset alert?
I got Vautech traveling to Stanford this week. A bit of a market adjustment. We saw Vautech play a very good game against Miami. Stanford, not so much. So now we're seeing is Stanford as a 9-point underdog. But I really like the Stanford team, and I really like this as a good letdown spot for Vautech. Give me Stanford.
The math got Wyoming right last week, but it doesn't have a pick this week. There's nothing on the board. So don't force a pick just because you have to. But a good trader of mine in a previous company had this theory about always bet the team when the superstar leaves and then fade them the game after. So I'm going your Syracuse again, which have already won once for me this year. So I'll take Syracuse over UNLV on Friday night.
Yep.
On Friday night? Yep,
Yeah.
right here in Las Vegas at Allegiant Stadium. And guess who will be in attendance?
You?
This Syracuse alum.
Yep.
I love that pick, Craig. Okay, let's move on to some NFL. Which team will stay undefeated the longest, the Chiefs or the Vikings?
Probably the Chiefs. I mean,
Yeah.
their luck factor just week in and week out. Not only that, if you look at this week, they're a bigger favorite than Minnesota is, and I even have probably the Jets as a closer in probability than the market suggests right now. So, yeah, probably the Chiefs. I mean, I know they lose their top weapon, and quarterback injured their top weapon. It's kind of a wild
Yikes.
thing to see. But they just find a way week in and week out, and they just have that Patriots factor.
Yeah.
They have that Tom Brady, Patrick Mahomes. They just get wins. They're just
They
gonna
grind
get
it
done.
out.
Yep.
Yep.
The Chiefs shouldn't even be 4-0 right now. They
I
should
agree.
be 2-2.
Shouldn't be.
And,
I
and they're
agree.
a toe tap from potentially being 1-3.
Yeah.
But they're the champs. They find ways to win. They've got the Saints, the 49ers, or the Raiders, who always play the Chiefs tough.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a tougher schedule. The Vikings, they've got the Jets this week, who are in turmoil. The Lions is a tough game, obviously, because it's divisional. And then the schedule's pretty soft. So I think the luck runs out for the Chiefs this weekend.
Oh, I like it. Okay. Do you think the Ravens are Super Bowl contenders after that performance last week?
I think the Raiders are Super Bowl contenders every single year while that organization is that organization. They are well built from top to bottom. Everybody does their job. There's never any drama. When things go wrong, they address it, they fix it. You don't see the the players talking out of turn. Yes, is the answer.
Yeah, and I agree with you there. I think we went into the season knowing that their defense was going to be worse, but they kind of go next man up. Now their offense looks great. Derrick Henry, granted, you called it. Derrick Henry owns the Bills, and they sure did. But yeah, I think if they can keep this offense going and still kind of build upon their defense and figure themselves out in defense, absolutely a Super Bowl contender.
Yeah, they looked phenomenal. Okay, some volatility in the wide receiver market right now. Which superstar wide receiver is getting traded first?
I go, he's Devontae Adams. I mean, that's the easy one. I didn't really have anybody outside of that. I'm sure Craig does as well. But, where does he go? Obviously, the Chiefs are in the market for a wide receiver, but that's not happening with the Raiders. But, probably the Jets, Steelers, or maybe the Saints, too. I think who could use him the most, especially even though they really have superpower, but the Jets really struggled on offense this past weekend.
Yeah.
And, for a defense to only allow 10 points, you can only put up 9, miss the game-winning field goal. They probably need that extra bump, and kind of having that, passed with Aaron Rodgers and Devontae Adams would be a boost to the Jets.
They're 5th all-time in quarterback to receiver touchdowns. It's 100% Devontae Adams will be a Jet by the end of the week.
100%.
100%. I said it 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, you did. I'll give you that.
But given that he's already asked for a trade, it kind of mutes your question. So here's one for you. Tyreek Hill of the Dolphins.
Yeah.
You saw him ranting and raving behind the head coach the other night, Monday night.
He's not happy.
Team's not good.
He has, one touchdown this entire season?
Yeah, but he doesn't have a quarterback anymore.
Yeah.
I thought his interview Monday night pre-game was great, but then he's visually seen berating the coach after, and that's never any good for longevity.
Yeah.
Is that the word?
Yep.
So, let's go Tyreek Hill. They'll get a decent pick.
Where's he landed? Did he go back to the Chiefs?
Back to Kansas City Chiefs.
That makes a lot more sense than Devontae Adams.
Sick.
I'll say that. I don't know if I see either. I just don't see.
The Chiefs are going for history.
Yeah. No, that's true. They need a wide receiver, that's for sure. Okay, favorite Week 5 game for the total to go under. We call this the Craig Special. Let's hand it over to Craig.
The obvious one is Miami and New England, because they are the 2 worst scoring offenses. But that's 35 points.
36, I think.
36, yeah. That's too low for me, and I'm not afraid of going under that number. The Raiders, Broncos.
Yep.
8-2 the under in the last 10 games in Denver. Neither team can score. Both got issues on the offensive side of the ball, and it's a slightly higher number, so I'll take that one.
I went with the Dolphins pass.
It's too obvious.
It's too obvious, and
stinker.
I'll probably lose. But just that Dolphins performance on offense compared to like last year when they're putting up 70 points against the Broncos, it's pathetic to say the least. So I'm going to take that one under.
And you think this is completely like quarterback related to their issues, or the Dolphins?
The Dolphins issue.
Yeah.
They don't have an offensive line.
Yeah.
But it just shows the complete drop-off that you have from your number one quarterback.
Yeah.
And you're always an injury away from your season changing. Their offensive line is a shambles.
Yeah.
You can't run the ball, and therefore the quarterback just becomes free territory, basically.
You mentioned the drop-off in quarterback play. How do you not have a good backup when you know you have a quarterback that loves to get concussed, loves to get injured?
Because they're up against it on the salary cap.
Okay.
And you paid all that money for one person, so $254 million.
Big money.
Yeah.
A trader actually came out with a great idea the other day and suggested that backup quarterbacks should not count against the salary cap. Because the level of product that drops off, that game was unwatchable. That's a game only a mother could love.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was bad.
So you're damaging the product by having inferior backups. But they should have just traded for Joe Flacco.
Yeah,
like
not everyone has a George Flacco. You did call that. All right, favorite Week 5 game for the total to go over. We call this the public special. Joey, start us off.
I'm going to take the Thursday night over 44 Bucks and Falcons.
Yeah.
2 decent quarterback play in a league where we're not seeing great. I think that this is going to be a shootout. I think back and forth. I think 44 is too low. Give me the over in that one.
I like it.
I'm going completely against my grain.
Okay.
The Saints and Chiefs over 42.5 on Monday night. There's already sharp action for the under, so I'm already wrong 5 days out. So we could get that one in early. Monday night games are 5-1 over this year, and back-to-back 71-point games the last 2 weeks, which is the customer's same-game parlay darling. It's just like we always say, especially on the media calls, we don't judge NFL until Tuesday morning. And the results were good for the book on Sunday night. Tuesday morning, not so.
Yeah.
Saw this exactly the same thing.
Yeah, both games went over. Great results for the customers.
All right, we will see. Pick an NFL upset for this coming week.
I got the Cowboys Sunday night. Backs against the wall. Steelers again. Justin Fields look like he's turning a corner offensively. They do look better, but I just think I think it's the same Steelers, but I just can't get over the line that they should be favored in this one. So I think Cowboys backs against the wall. They get it done Sunday night.
It's a good one.
I had two: Saints over Chiefs, but the bigger one was Bengals over the Ravens.
Yeah.
I could see that.
It's
It'd
a
be
divisional
pretty
game.
horrible if the Bengals lost.
Bengals season, their backs against the wall.
Yeah.
Ravens coming off that huge result Sunday night. Maybe it's the letdown situation.
It might be in there. Yeah, the Bengals need this
Bengals
win.
Bengals
to
need
win.
it, yeah. Fair enough. Let's get into building your 3-leg anytime touchdown scorer parlay. Craig builds one. Joey builds one. Who wants to start?
I'll go first because I know Joey's picks.
All right.
And fair play to Joey, first of all. He got 2 of his 3.
Yeah, he was
were
very
sweating it through.
close. Yeah, he was
Cole Kmet
very
couldn't
close.
get it done.
Couldn't get it done. I'm sticking with Travis Kelce. I thought he would score last week. I thought he might have a big game, and he had a great game.
Yeah, he got in the action. I wouldn't call it a great game, Craig.
It was better than his first 3.
Yes, combined.
Yeah, so Travis Kelce, Josh Allen of the Bills, and Justice Hill of the Ravens.
Ooh, I like the
Yeah.
Justice
Yeah.
Hill one.
I
He
thought you'd
looks-
like that one.
Yeah.
And Joey's going to put in Ashton Gentry.
No, I do like Ashton Gentry, and he absolutely ruined it mine. I'm trying to get the last price for here, but I have what it pays. But I got a name this week, the Triple
you
J.
named one. Okay.
Oh.
Triple J parlay.
The Triple J.
Lamar Jackson,
Yep.
plus 165. Jerry Jeudy, plus 220. Jordan Addison, I think he was around plus 265 for the Minnesota Vikings, pays 29 to 1.
Yours pays more than mine for once.
Yeah, for once.
Yeah.
Love it. All right. Well, those are our parlays for tailing the traders. And if you think, hey, that sounds kind of good, go on the Caesar Sportsbook app and tail the traders. Are you guys ready for an overreaction or not?
Always.
Always.
Yeah. This is my favorite part.
Yeah.
Overreaction or not, the Colts are better off with Joe Flacco.
Not an overreaction. If I'd have got my way last week, he'd have been a Dolphin.
I think it's an overreaction. I still believe in Anthony Richardson's ability, and I think he has that upside with his running. Granted, can he stay healthy? And that's really the downfall. But yeah, I'm not giving up on Anthony Richardson yet. And Joe Flacco, he's great story last year, but I just think that Anthony Richardson has that upside for a whole season.
Do you think the coach caused that injury because he went out injured and then they called run play straight after when he went back in?
Maybe. I know. It was. You could definitely tell because he didn't get tackled or anything. He
No,
just immediately
straight
fell.
down.
So I was like, oh, that's not good.
All right. Overreaction or not, the Vikings are the best team in the NFL.
Overreaction.
Really?
Yeah.
They're top 5.
Both. You're both going overreaction.
I don't even have them top 5. I have teams I have better than them: Ravens, Bills, Chiefs, 49ers, Texans, Lions.
There you go.
Damn.
And they're kind of in that upper middle class ranking. But I mean, they are impressive, and there's no doubt that they deserve credit. Obviously, everybody's rating them off. Say, oh, JJ's out. Sam Darnold, he's washed up.
Yeah.
Kevin O'Connell, great defense, week in and week out. Granted, it's a little scary there at the end of this last game where they almost, you can tell they're going to give it up. And Sam Darnold also looks like he's going to be due for a 2-3 interception game, just the way he's throwing the ball. But all credit to them. They've definitely grown the biggest of their power rating since the beginning of the season.
The next time I pick a team to be winless last, go the opposite way.
You picked the Vikings?
Yeah, I picked the
Oh
Vikings
my
to be the last to get
God,
a win.
that's so
Yeah.
funny.
It's standard.
Yeah. Overreaction or not, the Broncos have the best defense in the NFL.
Overreaction.
Yeah, overreaction.
Yeah, they're 4th in scoring defense. They got an assist from Mother Nature, Father Time, and a kicker this weekend. No.
Yeah, I think what we want to see is the week 7, 9, and 10 where they play the Saints, Ravens, Chiefs.
Yeah.
We'll see if they're the best defense.
All right. Overreaction or not, the Jets will miss the playoffs.
Not an overreaction.
I got overreaction there. They obviously had a rough outing against the Broncos, but they still really have a solid defense. And again, if they bring in Adams, spark some life.
Yeah.
I'm not going to give up just yet. But it definitely didn't look good on Sunday. That's for sure.
No.
The amount of Jets fans in this building, it's purely biased. It's just, just so I can talk to them.
No, I'm with you. Craig.
It's the Jets.
It's the Jets. Overreaction or not, Robert Saleh needs to be fired.
No, I don't think that's an overreaction, but I don't think that's going to improve them if they fire him right away. It's not going to all of a sudden fix the season. I think the one that's probably on the hot seat is Doug Peterson for the Jags. That might be the biggest hot seat.
Yeah.
Don McDaniel in Miami.
That too.
Overreaction. The problem is he's lost the locker room. And your team leader clearly has zero respect for you.
Yeah.
Which doesn't help. The head coach becomes a scapegoat. So, yeah, I'm saying an overreaction because nobody needs to be fired. But he's going to be fired unless he gets Devontae Adams and that team turns it around.
Yeah,
Right. Overreaction or not, Jaden Daniels is a top 10 quarterback.
Overreaction. Jaden has had the benefit of playing poor defenses, so he's going to need to prove himself a little bit more before he's in the conversation, despite his early success. But he has been impressive. I mean,
Yeah.
and as a rookie quarterback, though, you're going to have some variance along the lines, and not everybody's going to be C.J. Stroud, but maybe he is. We'll see.
Overreaction. His offensive coordinator should be the offensive rookie of the year.
Yeah.
Kingsbury's done a tremendous job. He's made it easy for Daniels, simplified offense. They're very successful on first and second downs, so he's not put into these tough passing positions. They lead the league in offensive efficiency. And I did see a crazy stat last night when I was reading. Washington scored on 16 straight possessions.
Yeah.
Which is nuts.
Nuts.
Where in the reverse, Miami haven't scored on 16 straight possessions, it feels like. Daniels only leads the league in completion percentage, but the giveaway because of that is the average yards per completion are only 10 yards, 23rd in the league. So, no. There's 15 to 20 other quarterbacks you would take first in an expansion draft.
Right.
He does look good, though. Overreaction or not, Nico Collins is the most underrated player in the NFL.
I don't think it's overreaction. I think he's not underrated to me. I think he's a top tier wide receiver.
Yeah, you're rating him.
So I guess to me, yeah, he's not underrated. He's still treated. I expected him to do well, and he's on my fantasy team for a reason.
Not an overreaction and a great angle because if you just said name 20 wide receivers, I would not have named Nico Collins.
Right.
So he's under the radar for me anyway.
I think a lot of people feel that way.
He leads the league in first downs, yards per game, second in receptions, second in targets, and he catches that ball 70% of the time. It helps having an elite quarterback throwing the ball to you.
Right. Overreaction or not, Malik Neighbors will win the wide receiver triple crown, currently 35 receptions first, 386 yards second, and 3 touchdowns second.
Overreaction.
Overreaction.
For 2 reasons. The Triple Crown belongs in horse racing and only horse racing. And look who's behind center in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that adds, and he's already 103 yards down from Nico. So yeah, I think it's, is he going to get fed the ball? Yes, but defenses are going to realize that that's the only weapon. They're going to double team Neighbors and bye Triple Crown.
Yep.
All right, Craig. Any weather watch games for the weekend?
Yeah. So NFL sustained wins in Chicago, even though I went with that angle last week and it still managed to get over by the hook. There'll be significant rain in the Vikings-Jets game, which is being played in Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, London, England, and it will be cold. Jags and Steelers also have rain, and there's 3 in college, so sustained 20-mile-an-hour winds for the whole first half of Nebraska, and then extreme heat. We only have to walk outside. It's hot, and it's October. Arizona State, 105 degrees in the second half, and Oklahoma State just touching 100 degrees in the second half of the game.
All right. Well, you heard it here first. That was Craig's Weather Watch. Let's get into some game previews. Let's start it off. It's an NFC South showdown with the Bucs Falcons on Thursday night. Joey, what should we expect from this matchup?
NFC South matchup, something that we saw last week with the Falcons and the Saints was a great game, and I expect to see the same. Again, like I said earlier, like the over. Line heading the Bucks' way, which makes sense considering how well Baker's played through these minus that Broncos game.
Yeah, just get rid of that one.
Yeah, this should be a very good game, and it'll be proving of who's going to be getting in front of that division, who wants it more.
We get primetime Kirk for the third time this year, where he is
Lucky
1-1,
us.
had every right to be 0-2, and had every chance of being 2-0.
Right.
Those are those asterisk games that they should not have beat the Eagles, and they had every chance to beat the Chiefs.
Yeah.
And the results were the other way around. Bucks have won 4 of the last 5 in Atlanta. Home divisional favourites this year are 5-4 against the spread, but 7-2 straight up. I actually made the Bucks a small favourite on this game, outright, as my normal power ratings, but also with my adjusted ones where I take into account factors of, yes, the Falcons shouldn't have beat the Eagles, and the Falcons should not have been the Saints this week. The Falcons got lucky this week because they scored on a muff punt, a pick six, and a 58-yard walk-off field goal. You just got to look at some of these games deeper. The record doesn't speak for Atlanta's thing. Baker plays really well when he's not facing elite pass rushers. Atlanta doesn't have that. I made the Bucks a favourite, so I'd have to take the Bucks plus the points for me.
Yeah, I'm actually excited for this one.
It'd be a good. Hopefully, it'll be a good Thursday.
Yeah, a good Thursday game. It's what we need. Next up, we have Jets-Vikings. Jets obviously coming off of that loss to the Broncos. Pretty upsetting. And then the Vikings sitting there nice and pretty, undefeated. What should we expect, Craig?
A cold, rainy day in London, England. This is the most talent that has played on Tottenham Hotspur's home field since the last NFL game. And that's a shout out to all my Spurs fans. People are complaining about the field conditions at the international games. We saw the Brazil game, it was terrible. So I figured there might be an angle on the games that played at Tottenham Hotspur Stadium with the over or under, but actually I was proven wrong. It's 5-3 to the over. But there is weather in this game. It will be wet and it will be cold. We've got a very good team in the Vikings that I never saw coming versus a team that seems to be suffering predictable internal turmoil. So I'll sit on the fence on this one.
Joey?
Yeah, we saw this clearly how the market thinks of these teams. They opened up Jets -1.5, now it's the other way, Vikings -2.5. Two teams that clearly had different expectations going into this season. Jets were expected to be very good. Vikings not so much, mid at best. So I really like the Jets in this one. And it even adds for the weather. If it's going to be cold and rainy, what's going to be successful? Running the ball. So I think the Jets have that much better than the Vikings do. What really about the Vikings' success is Darnold and being able to get the ball to Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison alike. So I like the Jets to get it done in this one, and I just really kind of to prove themselves wrong, and then it'll flip around where Aaron Rodgers is back, the Jets are there.
Yeah.
It'll be a fun week next week.
And it won't be Salah that gets the credit.
No, not at all. I think there was a little bit too much hype for that Jets win over the Patriots, for sure. All right, next up, Bills-Texans. The Bills kind of came back to earth a little bit after that disappointing loss to the Ravens. Let's just call it that. Craig, what should we expect from this one?
I think this is the game of the week, on paper anyway. All 3 games played in Houston the last 10 years went under, and the home team won straight up all 3 games. And the Bills are a pick-em favorite, 1-point favorite, so it's practically pick-em.
Right.
Neither team were lights out last week. Houston needed a late touchdown to beat the Jags. I think they scored with 18 seconds left. And the Bills had their lights knocked out by Derrick Henry, who owns the Bills on the very first play from scrimmage. Bills shown Sunday that they have the worst rushing defense. Houston don't have Mixon. I see it in practice again this morning. They're struggling to run the ball, so it comes down to who's the better quarterback and the playmakers. CJ Stroud is an elite quarterback. It'll be a good game. Definitely not one for me to get involved in.
Staying away.
Joey?
Yeah,
we saw this line go through 0. Texans open up 1. Now it's Bills -1. And Bills are getting the love despite the embarrassment on Sunday night.
The Bills are no mugs. The Bills are a good team. They just got hammered by a very, very, very good Ravens team that steps up for these games in the regular season.
Some bad luck, too. It looked like they could have maybe made something happen. Josh Allen
tried tackling Derrick Henry.
Yeah, that's a tall task.
Yeah.
But no, I think really what the injuries are really going to add to this. Tank Dell, Joe Mixon, Damian Pierce, all questionable. think the 1 is warranted on the Bills side for this game.
All right. Next up, we have Saints Chiefs. The Saints started off hot, but they're now back to 2-2, and Chiefs are still undefeated, but just ugly games through and through. So, what should we expect from this one, Joey?
Yeah, the Chiefs just find a way. They find a way every week.
They grind it out.
They get it done, 4-0. We saw this open up 6.5, went all the way down to 4.5 last night. Now it's back to 5.5. So we're seeing some really back and forth action either way. I do like the Saints in this one.
Yeah.
But I just can't bet against Patrick Mahomes. I just can't do it. Even without, obviously Rashee Rice, it's now looking good for Rookie of the Year for Xavier Worthy. But, the Saints team is much better than expected, and but the Chiefs just find a way. So I'm staying away from this one, but I'll definitely be rooting for the Saints.
Yeah, somehow the Chiefs keep finding ways to win, but that's what champions do.
Right.
Mahomes has thrown a pick in every game this season.
He sure
and
has.
8 of the last 9. So he's looking like the second coming Will Levis when he's hanging onto the ball. But for all those issues, they still grind out wins. They still find a way. He's still the best quarterback in the league. You wouldn't take any other quarterback in the league before Mahomes. You can put an asterisk on the loss last week for the Saints, the way that the Falcons beat them.
Yeah.
But Alvin Kamara is having to do everything right now. Derek Carr looks mid.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, did we talk about MVP like after week 2 or something when they put 90-odd points up?
Yeah.
No, let's be real. I would love to see the Saints in the Super Bowl in the Caesar Superdome.
Yeah, same.
The home team. Sharp money on the under early in the week, but I quite like the Saints plus the points here, and I had them as one of the upsets.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's get into our game picks. Joey, why don't you remind the viewers where we're all sitting?
I'm at 4. Cindy's at 5.
I sure
Craig's
am.
at 1. So, surprise, surprise.
We're looking good, guys.
2 of you are.
Well, Craig, let's get you some points. Let's start us off. What are your picks of the week?
Okay. Nebraska first half under 21.5. Weather angle.
Yeah.
And no surprise, Vikings Jets first half under
There you
20.5.
Go back to bread and butter.
Stick to what worked.
Yeah.
It hasn't worked this year. I got done by the hook in the Bears this weekend.
Yeah. College-wise, went Arkansas Razorbacks plus 13.5 at home versus Tennessee.
Don't they have the best home field advantage? Didn't somebody
Arkansas?
tell me that last year?
They
At
might.
night, apparently.
They might have
Yeah.
it. And then the Falcons Saints over Thursday. It's the 3rd time I mentioned on the podcast, so
You love this game.
I love this game.
All right. For college, you know where I want to go. I want to go Syracuse plus 6.5.
Then why not?
I'm not gonna go because I have this rule about not betting on my team.
But you're about to take the Patriots.
I'm not. Well, not betting in college.
Okay.
NFL's different. So I'm gonna go Missouri plus 2, and then bring me to NFL. I'm gonna stick with what's been working. I'm gonna go Saints plus 5.5. The Chiefs have what? They've covered once, I think. I think they covered against one team.
Yeah, depending on what line you got last week, but yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, true. I'm going to go with that until they prove me wrong and they really blow out an opponent, which I just don't see happening. So there we are.
They covered the Falcons.
The Falcons, yes. That was the cover. All right, well, that's all we have for today. Guys, anything to say before we head into the weekend?
Good luck.
Yeah, best of luck.
Yeah.
All right, bye.